Welcome to the STLK in the UTA Jazz Podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
We're back.
We are so back, baby.
We are so back. And not only are we so back, but we're so back wearing purple.
Purple is back.
Purple is back, as we've heard plenty of times and anticipated for so long. Mm-hmm. I thought we would celebrate today.
Yeah. I love the new logo, by the way, the new note.
No, it looks fantastic. You know, people are always like, well, why does it look like that? I'm like, I don't know. It was drawn in the 70s.
It looks great.
So, that's why.
Yeah, Sorry. Yeah, I didn't design it.
I think it's cool. But, purple's back. Last time we matched, Clarkson.
Yeah.
And again, this was unintentional.
I took off my hoodie and I said, whoa, we're wearing the same color.
Literally, I said, wow, nice purple. He goes, wow, nice purple for you. So again, we just keep matching. Maybe we do purple Mondays.
Sure.
Maybe make it fun. How, throw something in there. Purple Mondays. I don't know.
Why not?
I don't see why not.
It's a fun tradition.
Yeah. We're coming off a weekend with only one Jazz game, which has been not really happening lately.
It's not been ideal either.
We've been seeing lots of back-to-backs and exactly. Not ideal. I love 2 games on a weekend.
I hate when there's only one. And then it's like, what do I do with all of this time?
I'm not doing anything else on the weekend. I'm looking forward to the Jazz.
I'm watching Jazz highlights.
Yeah, I'm doing something. Maybe 2K, playing some Jazz. So I'm doing anything I can. But, we're coming off a 95-123 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Not pretty.
Not pretty. And I remember you were telling me the Timberwolves have given up less than 100 points 4 out of the last 5 games. So we fall victim to the opposite stat of our own.
Yeah. And not only have they been giving up less than 100, they're actually a top 5 defensive rated team this year, led by the best defensive rated player in the NBA, which is our old favorite player, Rudy Gobert.
The Stifle Tower. I mean, lots of familiar faces.
Yeah.
Rudy. Mountain Mike Conley.
Alexander Walker.
Let's
played a good amount of minutes.
I mean, this was a Jazz reunion.
It was. It felt like the Jazz were playing their old selves, but with an upgraded roster.
It's like back in, I want to say, 2011. If you can remember. And honestly, ironically,
the Chicago Jazz.
The Chicago Jazz. Yeah. They had Ronnie Brewer, Kyle Korver, and Carlos Boozer.
All playing a lot of minutes for them.
Starting for them against the Jazz. And I was like, well, this is insane.
Yeah.
So, and ironically, we play the Chicago Bulls tonight.
Yep.
But I thought that was hilarious. I mean, it felt like that last night. Literally, I remember being a kid and being so sad.
Yeah.
I hate the Bulls.
And the Bulls were good with them
Not only am I hating the Bulls, I'm like, Michael Jordan, I hate the Bulls, pushed off your shirt, and then they steal my favorite players and all that kind of thing. So tonight, I'm going in with the same attitude.
So the Utah Jazz, and I'm not sure how much you want to talk about this Timberwolves loss. It was close for the first 2.5 quarters.
Even in the third quarter, made a nice little run.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on that. And Paul's play of the game actually is some of those keys to that run. But to lose by 28 to a team that not a lot of people think are like a top team in the West really hurt our confidence, I feel like. But obviously, you know what really stuck out to me was the amount of times Lauri Markkanen shot the basketball.
I'm going to bring that up. Our stat got killed.
Murdered.
We were living and dying by we will win if Lauri shoots 20 shots or more. And he shot exactly 20, correct?
Correct. He was 7 for 20 from the field.
So how about we move to 21?
Okay. Great.
It still stands. If Lauri Markkanen shoots 21 or more shots, we win.
Yeah, he does. He does, and we do if Lauri can shoot that many times. What's hard is 4 of his 7 makes 2 nights ago were 3-pointers. I'd love to see that number getting more favorable to the 2-point shots. But again, 20 shots is, not... Wow, I got some hiccups. Is not a bad stat. What is a bad stat is Talen Horton-Tucker shooting the ball as many times as Lauri Markkanen.
And, this isn't a bad stat as in Talen Horton-Tucker slander, right? This is just simply nobody should be shooting the same and more than Lauri Markkanen. Nobody.
Yeah, so...
He is all-NBA. He's our best player. Nobody should be shooting the same or even more than him, regardless of who it is.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. He played 11 less minutes than Markkanen did on Saturday, which is... he shot the ball almost once a minute while he was in there.
That's nuts.
And they do share the floor a whole bunch. This stat is, I walked in today and I said, Conjo, I have a stat for you. It might blow your socks off. And it might. So here it goes. Talen Horton-Tucker was the 13th player in NBA history to shoot the ball 20 or more times in under 25 minutes and make 6 or fewer shots. So it was a historical night for him shooting the basketball and missing the shots, which really is something you don't want to hear.
No.
Is that something that we can keep doing? Probably not.
So one word comes to mind. I guess it's two with a hyphen. Okay. Non-sustainable.
Oh, sure.
Like, it's just not.
No.
Like, it's just not going to, like, they always say averages play out. I'm not feeling like that would ever play out.
Well, let me tell you, that was about his average, which hurts.
It's just not going to, like, oh, if you have a bad one, like, it's going to catch up. No, I think we should probably stray away from that. Mm-hmm. And what's crazy is I have a stat that's like contradicting that. I think you have it.
Yeah. So he is the assist one.
Yes. Yeah, I saw this potential assist, which is a stat I honestly haven't really like heard of very much, but it's kind of interesting.
It's almost like a screen assist where it's like, do we want to even like think about this? The answer is yes.
Yes.
I want to think about this.
I actually like it.
He is 13th in the league in potential assists, which goes into to a lot more than just like, could they have made a shot? It goes into like the player's expected percentage shooting the shot, how close the defender is, how often the player makes that shot with a defender that close to him. But 13th in the league, so it adds his potential assists with his actual assists. That means he's a top half of the league point guard as far as assists goes, which also goes into the contradicting part. It's like, why are you shooting the ball 20 times then?
Yeah, if you're right there in potential assists, like why are we forcing a bunch of unneeded shots?
Exactly. So Halliburton, who I know you are just the biggest fan of, and I am too.
Big Halliburton fan.
He didn't have a game above 22 points, and just until the other night when he scored like 40.
Yeah, 40.
But because he's just passing the ball so much, and it's
12.4 assists a game.
He's killing it in the assist department, and it's simply because he just isn't shooting a ton, which I love from a point guard.
Well, and last game when he had that 38 or 40, he went 7 for 11 from 3. Mm-hmm. And just looking at him, you wouldn't think he's a 3-point shooter.
No.
His form is not my favorite for being a huge fan. Mm-hmm. But like he shoots efficient shots.
Yes.
He only shoots if he is coming off like a Chris Paul where he's like backing into the guy and can get a layup.
Yeah.
Or like a good 3 where he knows he's going to make it. And I'd like to see that more out of THT. There's a lot of especially in the first quarter, a lot of forced shots that honestly didn't even hit the rim.
No.
Like, didn't even hit the rim.
It's just kind of scary.
And then like he's doing these things where he's just forcing fadeaways, and I'm like, look, just play your game. Like that's why Halliburton is so good and got that max contract. Is he is so efficient at what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He's a pass first player, but he can put 40 on you if he wants to, and that's going to be a very, very efficient 40.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on THT. He's 22 years old. He's probably not going to be on the Utah Jazz next year. He's an expiring contract, an unrestricted free agent. But he's our point guard for now. So I'd love to see him pass the ball more than he shoots it, which is hard.
This is an upside. This is talking like positively. Like he's right there in assists. So it's just like, let's just move that a little bit more efficiently.
Like we've seen him have a ton of good passes this year, and we've seen him have a few bad passes, but when you're passing the ball 40, 50 times a game, they're not all going to be perfect. I just would like to see him focus on passing a little bit more because the Utah Jazz, they have enough scores. They don't need him to go get 30.
Collins can give you a bucket anytime he wants. We know Lauri's going to score. Mm-hmm. Collins can give you a bucket. I'd like to see Kessler get more active, and obviously JC is going to go in and give you a bucket basically whenever he wants.
Whenever he can, at least.
Literally whenever he can. And so, let's talk about tonight.
Let's talk about tonight, dude.
Chicago Bulls. I actually did not know, thanks for enlightening me, that they're 2-5.
They're also 2-5, just like the Utah Jazz. Excuse me. Utah Jazz, yeah, they're 2-5. Feels like 2-6, doesn't it?
It's feeling like it. Hey, but not tonight.
Not tonight. The Utah Jazz are underdogs, obviously, against the Chicago Bulls, who are playing in the Windy City. Chicago is favored by 4.5.
I heard that 5 points is given to the home team.
Sure.
So they're basically saying this is an even matchup.
It's a pick'em.
It's a pick'em.
And you can take the Jazz points if you like it, plus 4.5.
I'm going to.
Even money.
I'm going for the Jazz tonight. But let's talk Chicago Bulls. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a team that for the last couple of years, it's felt like they are contenders, and it's been their goal, and it just has not turned out that way.
They traded a lot for Vucevic. A lot of first-round picks, a lot of good players. Wendell Carter Jr.
They lit
the Jazz up.
They've had Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., Jimmy Butler all these years, and they are now with still a good roster. Vucevic, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Like it's a solid team.
If you look at it on paper, you're like, okay, that's a 41-team win at least, which is really hard because again, when you trade away so many assets to get what they think is the final piece, you're gonna like this stat. The Chicago Bulls broke the NBA record their first 2 games of the season. Do you know what it was for?
No idea.
Player only meetings. Again, it's an unofficial stat. They had.
Where are you getting this stat from?
Up here. So they lost their first 2 games, and the players immediately are like, players only meeting. They lose again. Players only meeting. You're like, all right, like how is this not ironed out the first 2 games? Anyway, I think this gives the Jazz a lot of hope going into tonight. It's almost like the opposite situation that the Jazz are in, where the Jazz have an embarrassment of riches as far as options to move forward, as far as draft picks, players. The Chicago Bulls are on the opposite end of that. But yeah, as far as the matchup goes tonight, Vucevic, how we play defense on him, I'm really excited to see how the Jazz handle him.
Yeah. I mean, keys to the game, I think, to obviously win this game, go back to, I think, Jordan Clarkson. It's a known thing, we need Lauri to shoot his shots or whatever, but looking back at, on Saturday, we did a Conjo's card. Jordan Clarkson's was 24.5 points, rebounds, assists. And he had about 10, 3, and 3. Like, that's just not going to get it done. Like, that's just not going to get it done.
No, it's not.
And it goes back to you saying, like, Jordan Clarkson needs to play good. And yet we've still not found like a metric for what's playing good and what's not.
Yeah.
I think maybe getting close to like your over-unders, like playing good.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like what you're at least expected to do, which is good.
I like the points, rebounds, and assists, and I actually have one loaded up for Conjo's card today. But I like it because I wish there was like an over under or Conjo's picks for plus minus, because I also feel like that's a good indicator.
I've always loved plus minus.
I think it's a really good stat. For those who don't know what it is, it's just the team's net points while you're on the floor.
Literally. So if my net plus minus is plus 6, means when I was on the floor, we were winning, differentially by 6.
Yes, which is a really interesting stat, because if you get blown out like the Jazz did on Saturday, they didn't have one player in the positive.
Yep.
Which doesn't mean no one played good, but at the same time, it kind of does. It's like Lauri played good, but obviously not good enough to keep the game within 30. And if you're an all-NBA guy, I hope you can do that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think
that is where it gets skewed, is depending on the outcome of the game.
Yeah, and like I think Cleaning the Glass, they're a stat website who does a really good job getting rid of garbage time minutes. So Lauri actually had a positive plus minus if you get rid of those minutes. But tonight, as far as Clarkson goes, to your point, if he can get above, I think the line tonight is 22.5. I think that's a really good indicator if the Jazz can win this game or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, moving forward, the Lauri stat and the Clarkson stat is like a given. It's like, look, we kind of need these to happen in order to win. Mm-hmm. And I think especially tonight, I mean, DeRozan's a good defender. Levine's not necessarily known for his defense. Vucevic is going to be great. So I think it's like, I honestly haven't heard much about the Bulls this year.
No, they've been quiet.
DeRozan's one of my favorite players.
He's so good.
One of my favorite all-time players, and I haven't heard much. I saw Zach LaVine had a 50 bomb.
That's sweet.
No assists. 0 assists.
Yeah, no assists.
So it's like they're trying to find their place, but at the same time, it's like they've been trying to find their place for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. So it'll be an interesting matchup. So I'm excited.
I'm excited to see how the Jazz guard, Zach LaVine. I feel like Saturday night we had a hard time guarding Anthony Edwards, who if we went under the screen, he shot it. If we went over, he just attacked the basket.
Yeah.
I feel like the Jazz have historically, not historically, but the last half decade or so, maybe more, have had a hard time guarding these 2-3 guards. They're just explosive. And there's a handful of them in the league, but we've never really found a guy that can stick with them. So I'm excited to see who the Jazz put on Zach LaVine tonight.
Absolutely. So, give me your predictions for tonight's game.
The Utah Jazz, I think they win tonight.
I think so too.
I think the final score is 121 to 117. I like
that. I really like that.
Yeah, I think the Jazz, I think it actually comes down to the final few possessions. I think the Bulls have a chance to at least tie it with a minute left, and then they get fouled, make a free throw, whatever the case is. But I think it's going to be a very, very close game.
I'll go 115-111.
It's low scoring for the Jazz.
But I think it's the same point differential. I think it's going to be about a 4-point game in the end.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
I'm like that.
You had a question for me.
I had a great question.
And you wouldn't tell it to me. I was driving here. I was like, just let me prepare. Like off the dome. What is
this? This is off the dome. And it's an interesting one. So going into, I was thinking about, this has been 89 games the Jazz have given up 100 points, correct?
Correct.
89 straight games.
Can I throw a stat before you ask the question?
Absolutely.
The Utah Jazz, I was really excited to share this. I'm sorry.
Please do.
They have the longest active streak in the NBA of 89 games, giving up at least 100 points. Atlanta is number 2. They're at 76, and that's a regular season only for them. They gave up less than 100 to the Celtics in the playoff last year. Quinn Snyder was actually the Utah Jazz coach the last time they gave up less than 100. Quinn Snyder is now the Atlanta coach. I believe their streak is going to end pretty soon. As far as history goes, the Utah Jazz are at number 9 as far as the longest streak, giving up 100, which is like only top 10. Come on, be better, right? So we are going to be 2 games shy of the number 8 spot. 3 games shy of the number 7 and only 4 games shy of the number 6 spot. We're on the wrong side of history right now, which is tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
This is the longest streak in the NBA of giving up 100 plus since 1982.
Well, it's crazy. Is 1982. Even let's fast forward. That same era. I was looking into like 1982 to 1992. On average, how many players do you think averaged 20 points per game per year?
Less than 25.
It's around 19.
Yeah, there you go.
Not very much.
No.
Guess how many people averaged 20 points per game last year?
Over 25.
49.
No kidding.
49.
That's a ton.
So as you look at there's so much more scoring in the league now.
Okay.
'Cause everyone's just so much better.
Yep.
And so it's crazy that dates back to 82. So I'm like, people didn't even score.
They didn't shoot threes back then.
Yeah. So it's crazy you say that, but this goes right into my question.
Okay.
Is how good the league is. I'm going to list off the top, or I guess the last 5 number 1 overall picks.
Okay.
Obviously Victor Wembanyama. We have Cade Cunningham. We have Anthony Edwards. We have Zion. And we have Paolo Banchero. Not in order, but those are the last 5 number 1 overall picks. All top names.
Yeah,
those
really
are
good
all,
players.
Those are all top names. Rank those 1 to 5 on their ceiling.
Ceiling. Like
Their
who
ceiling.
they could become.
Their ceiling.
Victor Wembanyama is number 1.
It's an obvious number 1 for Victor Wembanyama.
Banchero's number 2.
Okay.
The way he plays, we talked about it on Friday. He's low to the ground, but a big frame with a good shot. He's going to be playing for a long time. He's number 2. Anthony Edwards could be number 3. So could Zion Williamson. I'm going to go Edwards number 3.
Okay.
Just because he is the prototype of a future superstar where he can get to the bucket, high flying, shoots a lot of threes. Zion Williamson number 4. Mm-hmm. I'm leaving out Cade Cunningham at 5.
Cunningham number 5.
Here's the hard part. Zion, if he could have stayed healthy for his first few years in the league, I think he'd be number 2 on the list.
Yeah, and Cade Cunningham's great.
Yeah, and Cade Cunningham's great too. The fact that he's number 5 on this list.
Just look at who you're comparing him with.
Yeah, it's like some of the faces of the league already, let alone will be.
It's crazy. Like the talent, and we've already played 2 of those 5 players.
Yeah.
So it's just insane the rising talent that we're seeing. Each year seems to just get better and better and crazy. And, for me, I'm going Wembanyama number 1.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a given.
Yeah, he's an alien.
Ceiling, I mean, this isn't just my ceiling. This is the world ceiling. He's literally a monster from Space Jam.
No, he really is.
Number 2, I'll give you the public went Zion.
Really?
The public goes Zion on that.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Okay.
I personally go Paolo.
I like
I'm
that.
with you on that.
I thank you.
He just his build. He is insane. He is insane. So public goes Zion. Honestly, I'm willing to go Ant-Man number 2 as well, but I'm going to go with you and go Ant-Man number 3 as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because he is fluid. That's the one word I want to use for that man. Fluid.
He's good.
He is good.
You can tell he spent a lot of time in the gym.
He is good.
Yeah.
Good. And then Zion is number 4, and I hate that.
Because he's so low? Or because
he should be number 2.
Yeah. And Victor's, yeah, I agree.
He should be.
I agree.
Watching him at Duke was insane.
It was must-see TV.
It was literally insane. And so to see the regression he's had, I mean, even the couple games he's had this year, he's looked really, really good, but he's lost so many inches in his vertical. He's lost mobility. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays because everyone's still really, really high on him.
I personally tune into every Pelicans game still.
He is still talked about as a absolute elite player, and he hasn't played. I rarely see him play.
I think the way he's playing right now, he's going to be an all-star. But again, how long can he play like this?
Exactly.
Hopefully 70
So when you look at ceiling, it's okay, you can throw in injuries like longevity, things like that. It's injuries aside, that list might change. Mm-hmm. Injuries aside, Zion's probably number 2. But if we're basing it off of current knowledge, it's hard to throw him at number 2.
I agree.
So I'm with you. I'm throwing Zion at number 4 and then obviously Cade Cunningham number 5, which is blasphemy because he's been great.
He's incredible.
He's a great
30
player.
bombs.
I mean, he's
really
playing
high assist ratio.
The Pistons just still aren't good.
Yeah.
They're kind of the Thunder are getting way better. Mm-hmm. And the Pistons have been in the similar position, just drafting and just getting new guys. They have Jalen Duren, they have Jaden Ivey, they have now Thompson. So it's hard to like be like, oh, like they should be good. They're still young, but like other teams are starting to excel that are that young.
Yeah, it's hard because someone has to be bad, right? Like not everyone in the league can be good. And you take this Pistons team and put them in the league 10 years ago, I think they're going to have a better record. But I just think this goes to show that the league is ready for an expansion.
An expansion.
Yeah, I think Vegas, Seattle, obviously they're next on the list. I think that's the worst kept secret in the league. But we have so many good players and so many good teams. I'm like, let's spread the wealth a little bit.
Let's say that we throw Vegas and Seattle. Obviously, those are West teams.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we move the Memphis Grizzlies to the East.
I hope they are because they're East.
I mean, I'm just splitting the map in half and I'm seeing East.
And New Orleans.
I'm seeing them more East than New Orleans, but I'm also seeing them on the map more East than, like, kind of in line with Chicago and Indiana and Ohio, like Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like
they would move East, and either Minnesota, which would be interesting, because I feel like they're West, but I've seen rumors that they would move East.
But we would only need to move one.
No, we'd need to move two, right?
Because one would replace the other and add one.
Because right now, if you had Seattle and Vegas, you have 17.
No, you're right.
Yeah, you need to move two because you have 17 West and 15 East.
No, because one would stay.
Yeah, you're right. You only need one. It's Memphis. Wow, bad math on my part.
No, hey, we're good, but that's what's fun is, it's interesting conversation. I honestly wouldn't hate to see a relegation is what it's called.
Yes, you've talked to me about this before, and it got my mind going.
Moving the bottom two teams to the G League and the top two G League teams up to the NBA. Obviously, this would never happen.
No, but it might be fun. It's fun to think about.
We're trying in-season tournaments. Yeah. We might as well have some fun.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work. Like, are you expecting a G League team to be really, really good in the NBA?
No.
But it's fun.
You know what? We're just getting off topic here.
We are.
Let's kick it right to Paul's play of the game.
Play of the game.
Today we're going in a more encouraging light. Usually we look at like a defensive breakdown and like what we need to do better on it. This time we're going to show in that run in the third quarter what led to that and what we'd like to see more of. And I think would open up a lot of space and a lot of points to be scored in upcoming games.
Yeah. So you talked to me right before we started recording. You said, can we do a positive one? Because I had like 4 defensive breakdowns I was going to show, and they were all in the half court. Whatever the case is, I'm going to show a THT dunk. And if you haven't seen this dunk yet, it was great,
and we're just showing it for fun.
We're just showing it. I'm not even breaking it down. I'm going to go straight into a Clarkson play that I really like from the possession after.
And I'd like to see this because this Clarkson play goes right into our points, rebounds, and assists argument.
Yes, it does. All right, here's the THT dunk in full. It's pretty sweet if you want to watch. THT goes in, dunks it on Rudy Gobert. Great play.
No, that's extremely sweet.
It's fun. It's fun. So here we go. This is the play I like a lot. Walker Kessler goes up and is setting it looked like it was supposed to be an on-ball screen on THT. Never really made contact with Mountain Mike. But he goes in straight into a DHO with Jordan Clarkson. And if you've seen Jordan Clarkson play a lot, he likes DHOs more than on-ball screens, I feel like. So this plays to his advantage. He's going left. He has a lot of space. Who is that? Anthony Edwards. Yep, he overcommits going left. So Jordan Clarkson attacks his top foot. Best play in the game.
And I want to see more drives like that, right? Penetration to the middle. A lot of the times we like to go baseline.
Yeah, or at least JC does.
And we're getting trapped.
Yeah.
It's tough to make a pass out of the baseline. It's tough to make a bucket out of the baseline. Everyone always says growing up, just stop them at the base. Don't go baseline.
Yeah, don't go baseline. You're getting trapped.
You're going to get trapped, right? So I think more penetration to the middle and what we're about to see of what happens, I think will open up lots of options.
Yep. So he comes right here. Mountain Mike Conley jabs at JC, which JC has played him 1,000 times in practice. He knows he's not going to commit, and he also doesn't want to give it to THT in the corner. He's shooting 32% from 3 this year. He blows by those guys. At this point, he has a few options. He could kick it out to Markkanen in the corner, who is sliding up, as you can see, or he could drop it off to Kessler, depending on what Rudy does.
I mean, you're expecting a Clarkson floater there.
You expect it. He shoots 100%, a million of
100%.
them. So the second he sees Rudy Gobert leave his feet, that's an immediate dump down. And on top of that, Lauri's defender jabs at Kessler and says, hey, I would rather you guys give up a dunk than Lauri shooting an open 3. And so Jordan Clarkson does a great job reading that, drops it off to Kessler, easiest 2 points I think we had all night. Those plays where Clarkson is attacking the middle, Conjo, like you said, if we can get 5 to 6 of those a game, I think we're going to see a lot of points from him.
Just lots of, like, he can dump that. He can make it a floater.
Yep.
He can dump that to Kessler, or he can kick it out to Lauri.
Yes.
Lauri's sitting there with his hands and a smile. Lauri's smiling. He's wanting the ball.
Yeah.
He'll shoot it. I'm okay with him shooting it.
Yeah,
so I
great.
think if we can just see, and I think that's going to go into, the key of the game, right? Is I think just getting Clarkson that mobility to just go in the paint, either get an assist, either get a floater, kick it out kind of thing, will open it up. I think we'll see a lot of success. But so that's been Paul's play of the game. We're now going to kick it to Conjo's card.
My favorite segment.
For those, who are just listening, game days that we have a pod on, we do Conjo's card, which is just a few over-unders on some things for the Jazz game tonight. I pick mine. And then you guys follow along on Instagram. You can throw in your submissions and kind of follow along and have a little fun. So
Hat giveaway to the winners.
yeah, we did that on Saturday.
That was cool.
We're looking forward to doing that. Not today, but sometime, this week again. But yeah, let's run it.
Walker Kessler, over or under 7.5 rebounds.
That's the thing, is this should be over,
Should be.
but it's been breaking my heart. So I've got to take the under.
Okay. I respect it. They're playing a big Chicago team. John Collins, over or under 8.5 rebounds and assists combined.
This one also has been breaking my heart lately. Tonight versus Chicago Bulls, Vucevic scares me on the rebounding.
Terrifying.
He just randomly gets them. I'm going to take the under.
Lauri Markkanen, over or under 10 threes attempted.
Over. I think if we want to win this game, he has to shoot over. So I'm going to take the over.
I agree. Colin Sexton, 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined.
I wish you were going to say threes.
Yeah.
Sounds like that was just a gimme.
It is.
That's been a gimme every game. I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
I think he's been phenomenal. I actually think he gets more minutes than he has all season. Tonight.
Okay.
And so I'm taking the over.
Last one. Talen Horton-Tucker, one of your favorite players. 19.5 points and assists combined. Over or under?
Under.
Really?
I think because of that Sexton change.
Yeah.
I'm basically just riding with the assumption that Sexton's going to be playing a lot more. So I'll take the under on THT.
That's a really good move by Conjo.
Yeah.
I hope everyone heard that.
So I'm playing this off of my assumption that we're going to see more Colin Sexton tonight. That's Conjo's card. Follow along on our Instagram story tonight. This has been a great show.
Great show.
We'll catch you back on Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday sooner than that. So obviously we'll see you on Wednesday. We have a couple of things to announce later this week that we'll get to. And this has been STLK in the UTA Jazz Podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul. We'll catch you on Wednesday.